Hey, Abby.
Hey, Ayesha.
What are you doing here?
Halloween edition. Ooh. We're back with the number 3 Halloween edition. Is that still recording? No, it stopped recording. Look at that. Sorry, my dumb ass don't know how to record. But we're still gonna keep going. It's okay. That camera was still on me. That's all that matters.
What's up, Bobby? How are you enjoying our spooky week?
Dude, this shit is crazy.
Yeah.
If I was immensely immersed into it the way you are, I would be paranoid all the time.
I am.
I figured. Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about the fact that I own pepper spray and I have a taser,
which
I
you're
don't
gonna
carry.
let me use.
No.
Which you're gonna let me use on you.
No, we've never said that.
Dude, please, just let me borrow your taser one day. And just so you know how it feels, so you know and have a little bit of empathy for the guy you're tasing.
No!
Or a girl. It could be anybody. Come on.
No! If this guy is trying to attack me, I have zero fucking empathy.
Okay,
Fuck that guy.
I'm gonna figure it out. I'll figure it out. It's
How
okay.
many you figure out how to tase me?
Yeah.
Dude, somebody please send this to the police right now.
You're not gonna die or pass out.
Yeah, but
I mean, we don't know that.
You're threatening to hurt me.
No, but I'm doing it just so
I feel threatened.
It's okay. You know what's gonna end up happening?
Hello, 911. Get him! Get him!
You know what's gonna end up happening is you're probably gonna end up tasing yourself anyway. So here we are, story number 3. What we got today, Ayesha?
We're talking about actually a really recent case, and I mean recent in that there were advancements in the case as recent as July. Of this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy because this year has been really hard for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so there hasn't been a lot of stuff happening for everybody. I mean, there has been a lot, but it hasn't been. There's been a lot happening for me this year. So when I recount this story, remembering what happened to this girl, I think back to what my life was like on this day, right? Because there's actual dates to correspond to everything, and it's just kind of crazy to think about how we all had a different quarantine, right? And how some of us have the best days of our lives, to some of us don't. And I will tell you that this is one of the cases that I selected that actually is so recent that there's not a Netflix special on it.
Oh.
So, yeah, exactly. So unfortunately, I can't refer anybody to anything on Netflix. I can refer to you from a really good content creator that I really like. Her name is Kendall Ray. She makes a lot of true crime cases. She's actually the content creator on YouTube that I get a lot of my true crime information from. She does a really good job of making sure that all the information is accurate, and she's really respectful of the family.
Yeah.
So this is actually coming from her video.
Yeah.
And that's a point that she made. She's like, yeah, I had a really good day on April 22nd. It was my birthday, and thinking about everything she went through, it's kind of crazy.
Right.
But yeah, it's a really recent case. It's the case of Vanessa Guillen, right? Which is a case that took the Instagram world and Twitter world by storm this year, right? She was a 20-year-old Latin American woman who was in the army.
Pause.
Yeah.
I will be right back. Vanessa Guillen.
Yeah, so she was a 20-year-old Latin American woman living in Texas.
Okay.
She was 20 years old. She graduated high school in 2018, right? So she literally, I think, just turned 20. And I asked you this when we were preparing for it. I asked you if you ever thought about going into the Army.
Yes.
Yeah, and you said you were thinking about going to the Air Force before.
Yeah, out of high school, like most high schoolers, you're really lost.
Yeah.
And you're not sure what you want to do with your life. And I felt as though, maybe the Air Force would have structure and stuff like that and get me somewhere. Yeah. And I don't know why. It was a really random decision on my part. But my parents convinced me out of it. They're like, no, don't do that. And I had gotten into a few colleges, but I didn't know which direction I wanted to go to. And the fear of student debt was already looming on me. So eventually, I guess we came to a compromise, and instead of going to UIC straight out of high school or any of these other schools, I went to JGC, junior college. Yeah. So that was our compromise because my parents didn't want me going to a junior college. Indian parents, junior college bad.
Right.
But I didn't want to go to a full-on college and already rack up 10 grand.
Right, because it's the same class anyway.
Right, but I wanted to go to the Air Force, and I guess
It just never happened.
Yeah, it just never happened.
Yeah.
We compromised. It didn't work. But
yeah, how do you feel about the decision now, 10 years later?
I'm not going to lie. I do still think about it.
Okay.
I really do. A lot of people I know that were also in my position that didn't go, they look back and they're like, man, I'm so glad I didn't go. I don't have that feeling. Mm-hmm. Maybe because of the fact that I just genuinely had no idea what my life would be like.
Right.
At the same time, I feel as though I know some people that did make that decision, and they are not exactly better off, but not exactly worse off, They're just they're normal human beings, and I'm like, man, I don't think I could have made the strides and gone through what I've gone through and become Avi if I would have gone to the Air Force that way.
Right.
Because I'm undisciplined, unstructured, and that is what makes me me.
Right. But you've also put a lot of your own discipline and structure in when you need to.
Correct.
Right. You're at a moment right now where you don't.
But that's how I was raised, right?
Yeah.
I was raised in a strict household, and my mother taught me a lot of things. Dad taught me a lot of things. But it's like, if I would have gone to the Air Force, would that have gone into overdrive to the point where I wouldn't be the charming fellow I am today?
Yeah, maybe your personality would have taken a huge hit.
Exactly. Yeah. Because those formative years are, even though you're 20.
Right.
You're still developing.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that. So. Your younger, your early 20s are so pivotal to who you are.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, Vanessa, like I mentioned before, she went into the Army right after high school.
Okay.
For her, it wasn't a doubt in her mind. Mm-hmm. She wanted to go into the Army.
Okay.
Also, she was a really bright girl. She graduated, if not top 12, if not top 10, at least top 12 in her class. And she was really social. She was really fun-loving, and she just was a light. And a lot of people's lives, right? But one thing she knew for certain is that she wanted to go into the Army. Mm-hmm. So she enlisted in the Army right away. Mm-hmm. She was in 91F, which pretty much is the small arms and artillery repair. So she's working with guns.
Sure.
Right? And so she went to the Fort Hood, right? Because she lives down in Texas. Okay. She goes to the Fort Hood Army Base, which is a major Army base in the U.S.
Yes.
Right? She was there for a little while. Mm-hmm. And in early April of 2020, her mother was starting to notice some behavioral changes. Okay. She was a little bit quieter, and she just didn't seem like herself. Mm-hmm. So and also it's a mother's intuition. Yeah. So her mom, being her, of course, pressed her hey, Vanessa, what's wrong? And Vanessa kept denying that anything was wrong. Mm-hmm. And at some point, I think after so much pressing, her mother finally got out of her that Vanessa, unfortunately, was getting sexually harassed by one of her sergeants on the base. Right? Which is, it's terrible, right? And so what does her mother do? Her mother convinces her to go and file a report. Yeah. And Vanessa is initially really skeptical. Mm-hmm. And, the reason being is just because she said that, I've seen girls, raise complaints over the sergeant before, and either it's met with nothing, no action at all, or corrective action on the part of the accuser. Yeah. So, the girl is the one that ultimately suffers. Sure. So, Vanessa kept saying, I'll take care of this on my own. Right. She kept saying that so that way her mother wouldn't do it, because her mother's well, if you're not going to report it, I will. Yeah. And Vanessa's no, I'll take care of it. And I think over the weeks after that, she was starting to get more and more convinced to actually do it. And I think right before April 22nd, which is the day that all of these events are going to transpire, she was finally convinced to go and say something. Right? Okay. So April 22nd, the night of April 22nd, 2020, she actually went to work. She wasn't scheduled to go to work that day, but she was called in for some reason, which is a little odd. Right? So she was working in the arms room. Like I mentioned before, she was in 91F, so she's supposed to work with arms. She was supposed to pretty much just do some administrative work in that room for a little while, and then she was supposed to go to the motor room. Sure. And so she did. She clocked in on time. Unfortunately, I don't remember the exact time, but she clocked in on time. She went to another room to just double check some serial numbers. She went back to her initial room, and she was supposed to go to this motor room afterwards, like I mentioned, and she never showed up to the motor room. On top of that, her belongings, her ID card, her car keys, and her bank card were all left in that initial arms room. Spooky. Weird, right? Ooh. Also, it's an army base. Yeah. So they do things they do head counts and they do checks all the time. Yeah. And as of that night, there was no soldier that was reported missing. Oh. But on April 23rd, Vanessa was nowhere to be found.
Oh, shit.
She was missing. Her family reported her missing.
Right.
So then there was, like, this whole scramble. It was like, holy shit, what the fuck? Where did she go?
Right.
But again, it's an army base. There's cameras everywhere. Technically, nobody is supposed to be in there, supposed to go in or out without the army knowing. That's why it's set up in a certain way.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. How does someone just disappear from an army base?
Right.
So they start retracing her steps. So she's not working alone in this arms room, right? Mm-hmm. She's working with, and the last person she sent a text to was this one person, the same age, 20 years old, this guy, Aaron Robinson. Mm-hmm. So her last outgoing message, I don't know what the message was, but the message was to Aaron Robinson, right? And after that, that was the last, so he was the last person who saw her. Okay. Right? Okay. So what's the deal with Aaron Robinson? What did he do that night, right? Yeah. So Aaron Robinson went to work that night, and once work was over, around like 12:30, he claims that he went back home to his girlfriend, spent the night over there, and then came back to work at 6:30. Suspicious, right? So super sus. When the 23rd came around and no one can find Vanessa, who's the first person they looked at?
Aaron
Robinson, right? So, I mean, Aaron's like, well, yeah, I just hung out with my girlfriend. Like, I had to be in work the next morning, so I just slept the whole day. Mm-hmm. They talked to the girlfriend. The girlfriend had also confirmed the same exact information. They even searched his cell, and they couldn't find anything. Okay. But you can't just take everyone's word for it, right? Sure. Actually, I think that they had asked him to do a polygraph test, and he denied, but said that he'll talk to the polygraph examiner. And even without the test being administered, the polygraph examiner straight up was like, yeah, you're lying. Oh. Like, there's no... I mean, after years of doing it, you can kind of read bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever heard that phrase, you can't bullshit a bullshitter? Yeah. Yeah, you can't bullshit a polygraph examiner. Like, they're literally taught to examine your body language to figure out if you're lying or not.
Taught in the art of bullshit.
Yes, there you go. So, it's the army. So, they got, the FBI, the government, they have ways of tracking everything out. Shout out to my FBI agent, Jason.
That's not a confirmed thing. That's an inside joke.
There's a joke in my friend group. There's a joke that I have created in my friend group that if I have an FBI agent...
Friend group? Multiple people know about this?
Yeah.
Now I don't feel special.
I thought what we had was special!
I thought this was just between us.
No, I tell everybody about Jason.
Nah, fuck off. I'm done with it.
Okay, so if I do have an FBI agent that's following me on all my devices, I just assumed his name is Jason.
Yeah, every time we hear, like, random click or something like that on the other end, we're like, Jason?
Jason? Wait, when have we ever heard that?
I have.
You noticed anything?
I have.
You said Jason?
This is how I know she doesn't pay attention.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to the story. The government has all ways to figure things out, right? Yeah. So they have this software that they can install into Aaron's phone that will pull out everything into a computer. Yeah. And we're not talking just physical stuff, right? So they, of course, will pull out, like, pictures and texts and emails. It'll also pull out logical information. So, like, GPS information, right? So they go back to the night of the 22nd. They noticed that Aaron made a lot of phone calls to his girlfriend on the 22nd, which is kind of weird.
Because he was with his girlfriend that night.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Avi, you and I have been hanging out right now for, like, 4 hours now. I didn't call you once.
No.
Right? So, it's a little weird. So, his girlfriend was like, oh, yeah, I couldn't find my phone. But, like, which would have made sense, but each call was a couple minutes long. Usually, if you're looking for your phone and you can't find it, you hang out. You hang up. Yeah. You don't let it go for an hour on voicemail. Once it hits voicemail, it doesn't ring anymore. Right? So, it's just weird. And on top of that, they looked at the GPS, and the GPS, it was very much like he was not... I think he lived close to Fort Hood. It showed that the GPS showed that he was in a different city of Texas, not near Fort Hood, in the early morning hours of the 23rd, right? So we're talking 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., which is weird because you're supposed to be at work at 6 a.m.
Sus.
Suspicious, right?
Sus.
And mind you, I just want to paint the picture, right? If she went missing on the 22nd or 23rd, they didn't actually get to this point until a lot later, where they're pulling out information, right? So because it takes a significant amount of time to make these advancements. It's not like it happens immediately. You need, like, warrants and everything, right? So even though, like, Vanessa went missing in late April, they started this process of pulling out the GPS in middle of May.
Oh.
Right. So a couple of weeks had passed, right? And so they had found that the GPS was, like, was all targeted around, like, some kind of bridge, and they eventually traced the area to that bridge around a river in Texas called the
Yeah.
Leon River.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're probably like, oh, they probably, like, did something here. Something else I forgot to mention, right? Like I mentioned before, there's tons of cameras everywhere. Also, there's a shit ton of witnesses. It's a fucking army base. People saw him leaving that arms room with a tough box. A tough box is like a really big, heavy-duty army-grade storage box.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And they not only saw him leaving the arms room with it, they saw him loading it into his car. In fact, struggling to get it into his car.
Right.
Right? Like, it was heavy. Like, he didn't know how to pick it up because it was so heavy.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So now, knowing that information, knowing that he very much was not at home with his girlfriend our night, that he was driving around with his girlfriend, he went over to a river.
Yeah.
You can kind of assume that Vanessa's body was probably in there. And he probably dumped her there, right?
Yeah.
So that's exactly what the FBI decided to do. They decided to kind of look around the area, and they did find a tough box.
Yeah.
They found it burned. Like, the lid was burned.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but there was nobody inside. There was no remains inside. So this is about, by the time they found this is like the middle. This is actually towards the end of June.
Oh,
right?
so it's like April, May, June has gone by.
Yeah. So they found this tough box, but no remains. I want to say on June 21st. June 30th. 4 contractors that aren't part of the FBI, they found remains of some girl.
Oh. Vanessa.
Later proved to be Vanessa.
Damn.
Yeah. I know, crazy, right?
Very.
Very crazy. And so this entire time, once they were able to determine that Aaron was bold-faced lying about everything, they told him that he had to stay stationed in his cell. Like, he could not leave his station on the army base, right?
Yeah.
Also on top of this, they were interviewing the girlfriend. And the girlfriend was like, oh yeah, we were just at home. And then she had an excuse for everything, right?
Accomplice.
She was like, she's like, oh yeah, he was calling my cell phone for this. Oh yeah, we went on this because I just wanted to go for a drive. So we went on a drive. That's it. She kept making it up. She kept doing this for him, right? When they finally found the body and they found, the box and the body, they were like, okay, we found this box and we found this body. And then that's when she sang. That was a terrible whistle. Can I do it again? Hold on.
No. Just keep going.
Damn it, I'm so good at this usually.
You can't whistle.
She sang like a canary. Can you do it? Damn it, I'm so good at this usually.
This is supposed to be a murder thing.
I know, okay, fine. She sang like a canary.
Yeah.
She pretty much said exactly what happened. But before I tell you what happens, let's talk about this Aaron Robinson piece of shit real quick, right?
Okay.
He found out that the FBI knew, and he's supposed to stay stationed in his room, right? Yeah. In Fort Hood, an army base.
Yeah.
What does this motherfucker do?
He doesn't stay stationed.
He leaves. How the fuck do you leave an army base?
How the fuck do you leave an army base?
How do you leave an army base if you're supposed to stay there? Like, shouldn't there be extra precaution to make sure you stay?
Right.
Apparently not. He fucking fled.
Oh, he actually, ran.
He fucking ran. Like, he hauled ass, man. And it gets so much fucking worse. The local authorities were able to track him in a few hours. And when they're zeroing in on him, he pulls out a gun and takes his own life.
So, you can't even get proper justice?
Exactly.
Fucking hate this story.
What a fucking... I'm so sorry for saying something rude about the dead, but what a fucking bitch. Right?
So there's no sense of justice.
There's no sense of justice.
We don't know why he did it then.
Well, that's the thing. Who we still have...
The girlfriend.
Is the girlfriend, yeah. The girlfriend by the name is Cicely. I don't think I ever mentioned that. Cicely, yeah. No. Her name is Cicely.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know how long they were together. Actually, according to her, they were only together for 2 months.
Oh.
Yeah, so, first of all, just imagining, like, my partner coming back to me saying, hey, I killed a girl. Can you help me, like...
Hide the body?
Yeah. Let's say we were married and we had kids. I'd be like, I don't actually know. I'm gonna take my fucking children and run.
Well... No. Yeah, I agree.
But imagine if 2 months. In 2 months, of like you had what your loyalty does not need to be there. Right. Like, I'm telling you, like, I would have fucking, like, I don't know what I would have done, but I would have fucking ran.
Right.
Because he wasn't with her when she told him. Mm-hmm. When he told her, she was at work, right? So she finally recounts the events of that night. And so what happened was, she gets a call from Aaron towards the end of his shift saying that he killed a girl. The way that he killed her was with a hammer. He bludgeoned her to death. According to the FBI, he did it within he not only did it, but also stuffed her into the tough box and then cleaned it up within 30 minutes, which we'll touch on in a minute. But he called her immediately afterwards and said, like, yeah, I have this body. I don't know what to do with it. And I don't know, it's not clear if she said, like, hey, like, you know, if she says, like, hey, like, we'll deal with it together or what, but eventually he does leave with this tough box. There's multiple witnesses that says that he does. He drives over to the gas station where she works, and they go to the Leon River, right?
Right.
And they figure the easiest... Oh, God, and this is about to get really graphic, so just a disclaimer, like, if you have a weak stomach or you're just, like, this is not your thing, like, I would click out for the next, like, minute, right?
I have a weak stomach.
Okay, bye. They pretty much, dismember her body.
Oh, shit!
Yeah, and put her back in the tough box and try to burn the tough box.
Oh, shit!
Yeah, but remember, it's a military-grade tough box,
yeah.
So they're finding
probably
a lot...
Probably fire-resistant.
It's probably fire-resistant,
yeah.
Which is like, you think a fucking soldier would know that, but they found it very difficult to do it, and they had to make a bigger fire, and in an effort to not draw more attention to themselves, they said, fuck it, they stopped making the fire, and they instead just dug 3 different holes and buried her in those 3 different holes.
Holy shit.
But, unfortunately, there's more.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so they actually go back 3 days later with some concrete.
Yeah.
And they re-dig up those remains, pour concrete inside of them, and then put the dirt back over them, pretty much. Yeah.
Dude.
It's fucked up.
What the fuck?
It's fucked up.
That is really messed up.
That's so messed up.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why the entire summer people have been crying for justice for Vanessa. Because her case is just so... It's unfortunately not a unique case. I mean, maybe the death is, but, like, she is someone who, you know, women in the military do get harassed quite a bit.
Yeah.
And they don't see justice for it. I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons Vanessa didn't want to come forward and say anything.
Wait, so that's why this guy did it, though?
Well, that's the thing. Right now we have to we try to figure out why he did it. So we asked Cicely,
mm-hmm.
what was the motive?
Mm-hmm.
According to Cicely,
mm-hmm.
Cicely was, I guess, married or separated from someone who was already in that base. And before that, the divorce happened or separation happened or whatever,
mm-hmm.
or maybe they were still married. Maybe there was no separation inside. Maybe they were just, like, together,
mm-hmm.
and she was cheating on him with Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
That's a no-go in the military, right? I guess adultery and all that stuff is like you're not supposed to do that. So So I think Vanessa had found. So they're saying Vanessa had found out and was threatening to report Aaron, and then Aaron killed her for that.
Oh, no way.
That's the story that Cicely is saying. Okay. What a lot of people think is actually happening is they think Aaron was one of the perpetrators for Vanessa's sexual harassment, and which might have caused him to be kicked out of the military.
Right.
So in an effort to keep her from doing that, he just killed her.
God damn.
But also, I said that, like, they think that he did it within 30 minutes. So between, like, an hour, 10:23 to 11:13, so like a little under an hour, right? That seems like an awfully small amount of time to not only bludgeon a fucking person to death, but to stuff him to a box and to clean everything up. Yeah. So it seems like it would make a lot more sense that somebody else was there and someone was in on it, mm-hmm. and we just don't know who it is. And now that Aaron has taken his own life, well, we might never know who it is, right?
No justice.
No justice. And I think they were doing like some research into, like, you know, Vanessa's, you know, claims that she was getting sexually harassed. Yeah. And at that time they couldn't find any, like, validity in it, which is disgusting.
That's terrible.
It's terrible, but there's so much. This highlights so much of, like, what's wrong in, like, the military space, right? Like, again, like, and again, please no one come after me, please. I'm just a person just wanting justice for Vanessa. Yeah. But again, Vanessa's story is not unique.
It's not new. It's not unique. Unfortunately, we hear a lot about this. We see this in media, folks, that, you know, women get harassed in the military nonstop, left and right, assaulted, whatever the case is, and they're told to shut up about it because either one, nothing's going to come of it, or two, you're going to have repercussions if something does happen to you. So, women in the military are very valued.
Yeah.
Very much valued.
Yeah, women and everything are very valued, right? And it's just the other thing is just like the fact that like, man, we need to believe people.
Yeah,
when they're claiming sexual assault, we have to believe them.
Do
believe
the proper
victims.
investigations. Do the proper look into it. You know, don't ignore it just because it could be a general for all we know. A 5-star general doing it does not lessen the fact that he might be using his power to sexually harass or do something else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not.
And
it's so unfortunate that, like, Vanessa felt like she couldn't speak out.
Right, exactly.
Who knows, like, how she could be walking today. She could be alive and well today.
Yeah.
She could be a military hero for all we know.
Right, exactly.
But unfortunately, somebody had decided that wasn't going to be her fate and took her own life. And took her life.
Yeah.
Right? Vanessa's family are very strong, are made up of very incredibly strong, resilient women who are not letting up. They are going to do whatever it takes to get some kind of justice for Vanessa. I think right now while Cicely did not actually commit the murder because she was an accomplice, she is also facing some kind of time. Yeah. Again, this is so fresh. Yeah. I think I've told you this before, like trials for these kind of cases do not happen for like 2 years. Like it takes a solid amount of time for things like this to actually come to fruition, which sucks for the people, the victims' families. Right. Like not only do they have to deal with this for so long, they have to continuously relive it at every single turn. And a lot of these times, these trials will either go to mistrial, or they don't get what they wanted, or they do a retrial. Yeah. So it's just like it's already a haunting feeling, and they have to relive it numerous times in their life, and it's just disgusting and it's terrible. But I'm really thankful that Vanessa has so many strong, resilient women, that they're taking a stand and that they are not gonna let her legacy go down like this. But for a long time, the military was really trying to like hide her name. It's because of Vanessa's family and Vanessa's family only that her name became so relevant this year. Like there were so many campaigns across the country this year for Vanessa to say her name. The same way that, I think that using the momentum and the tide from the Breonna Taylor movement, they had, and as they should, right? Yeah. Women of color need to stick together. Right. And so it's very upsetting. I'm always heartbroken to hear about this case because Vanessa is she's so young. She was 20 years old. Right. I mean, we know people that are that age, and we just look at them. They have so much to live for. They have so much. Absolutely. Their future. We're in our late 20s, right? I'm 27. You're 29, and we know like there's so much ahead of you. You even said it, like your early 20s are filled with pivotal moments that will shape you. Yep. And it just sucks that Vanessa was never able to experience that. Right. Yeah. It sucks that her family was never able to witness her experiencing that. Right. Exactly. And so it's really disgusting. I should have had this queued up, but there are tons of resources out there for you guys to help, Vanessa's case. Mm-hmm. There's GoFundMe pages. Yep. There's links online that if you just search up her name, it's Vanessa, Vanessa. And her last name is Guillen, Guillen. Mm-hmm. It'll also be the title of this podcast. Yep. If you search it up, I'm sure you'll find resources to help out her family. They really deserve it, and they really need it. And it's fucked up, and it's time that we stand up and we help out women. All the links that we're going to be posting to her, I'm pretty sure she has a raising money site and stuff like that. We're posting all that in the comment section below, or in the information box below. So click on that if you do want to donate, find out more information about this. Aisha's the expert on all these cases so far. I'm the junkie, right? I like to hear about these cases. But I mean, once in a while, like that's the thing about these cases, and I mentioned this to you before, is that these are people's lives. Like, so many of us were like, oh my God, I want to hear about this case. Yep. Forgetting that this is someone's actual life. Yeah. And again, I think because of just the timing of everything, because we were all so incredibly moved and passionate about finding justice for Breonna, and we still are. Yeah. For the love of God, fucking what am I trying to say? Fire and jail and like get justice for Breonna. Like we're still on that, right? For the love of God, and we still feel that way about Vanessa. Yeah. So I think because of all of that, it humanized the shit out of Vanessa, which it should have, because she's a person. Right. And I think like that's why like it's this is not a fun one. I mean, none of them are fun, right? People die in all of these. People are all dying. Yeah. They're not expecting to die. These are brutal murders. They don't deserve to die. Yeah, these are brutal murders. So. Yeah. So Aaron Robinson, like I'm sure the family, like your condolences because you lost someone too, but also Aaron Robinson is a little piece of shit. Yeah. And he couldn't even he's a coward. He couldn't even fucking stand to deal with the repercussions of his actions, which is disgusting.
Right.
Cicely, you are fucking I'm sorry, girl. Like, you're a fucking weirdo. You're
accomplice.
You're an accomplice, and you're just as bad in my book.
Like 2 months, ride or die. Yeah. Come on, like if this is like 8-9 years, you had a couple of kids.
I'm gonna just say it. Again, I'm telling you right now. Like, I can't be riding with that. I can't be riding with that. If you tell me you killed somebody and you're not like for like reasons like that, I'm gonna just be like, I'm calling the cops somehow.
Well, the truth is, if I would have killed somebody, you would be not the first call I'd make. You'd be probably the second one. The first call would be 911. Hey, I killed somebody.
Well, yeah, we talked about this before, right? Yeah, but we're saying that we didn't have any premeditation.
Right.
We didn't mean to. Like, it had to have been an accident.
Right.
The first thing we were doing is returning ourselves in.
Right. Exactly.
Which is not what Aaron did. Aaron wanted to cover it up.
He covered it up, ran from it. Yeah.
Right.
That's fucked up.
It's fucked up.
Well,
So yeah,
rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Vanessa. Justice for Vanessa.
Mm-hmm.
And all thoughts and prayers and more to the family.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
Actually, the one last thing I wanted to mention was, because this case is in 2020, if you do choose to follow it, there will be updates, right? Because it's 2020, there's things that we're going to figure out. Mm-hmm. We might, this idea that maybe there's another person involved, maybe we'll figure that out before the year ends.
Right, exactly.
So if you do want to have more information on it, I'll post updates, I guess, if I get any. Yeah. But do your own research. Things might have changed since the recording of this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. This is Halloween 2020, so you never know what might happen Halloween 2021. So who knows? You never know. Yeah, we'll find out.
It's a tough one, Avi.
That was a roller coaster.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It was a roller coaster. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Dismembered? God,
dude, any ones where you have to do, because it's like you're doing the same heinous act twice.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right, because killing them is one really bad one.
Right.
But then taking the time, just disgusting. Like, and there's tons of cases like that. There's cases that are really like, have you ever heard of the Black Dahlia?
I think I have.
Yeah, the one, and like that's a creepy case, and that's that's a very creepy case. But the fact that like somebody had taken the time to do certain things to her body, in a very surgical way, that's why they think it's a doctor. That's why one of their biggest suspects is a doctor.
Is a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Things like that. Just like the fact that you can go ahead and do that is just disgusting, and it's like you're murdering. In my opinion, you're murdering someone twice.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's gross. But that's all I have for you today.
Well, that was spooky.
That was spooky.
Let us know how you feel about this whole entire situation. Comment below. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I feel like such a YouTuber now. Yeah. Rate, comment, subscribe.
Smash that like button.
But that was awesome. So we'll see you tomorrow for another case, huh?
Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow for another case. I don't know what case we're doing tomorrow.
I don't know what case we're doing tomorrow either. These are all surprises to me.
Yeah, please offer suggestions. It will change the way that this week goes.
I swear to God.
What if someone does offer a suggestion? I'm like, Abby, we have to cover this case.
Then everything changes from that point on.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Anyway, hit us up on our socials.
Yep.
The socials, all the links for that will be down in the description box.
Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and follow me on IG so we can get to 10K followers and I can have a swipe up option. I'm not buying followers, folks. Don't try to convince me otherwise. I just want to get to 10K. I'm at about 600 and... I was going to say 69, but I don't think that's right.
Oh my God, stop. We just talked about someone passing.
No, but I'm about to hit 700 followers on IG, which isn't a lot, but that's a long way to 10K. But,
that's a lot to me.
Not to me! Get me 10K followers so I can do swipe up.
Specifically Avi. Like, not me. Screw me, right?
Yeah, nobody cares. Give me 10K followers. It'd be great. Get our What Are You Doing Here pod on IG. That is the handle. What Are You Doing Here pod. It's just the link is in the description below.
We're gonna change the handle soon. Just let us have Halloween.
It'll probably be W.A.Y.D., but it's Halloween.
Yeah,
week.
W.A.Y.D.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Spooky.
Follow me on IG. I'm Life of I.
Life of I. LIFEOFAYE. Life of I. Just like Life of Pie, but it's not pie. It's I.
You nailed it.
Yep. But for What Are You Doing Here podcast, I'm Avi.
I'm Ayesha.
And I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Hey, Ayesha.
Hey, Avi.
What are you doing here?
Why do you look like a bat?
Spooky season.
Shorty a little baddie.
No.